In the name of Allah and Ali, Islam to all. Join the MST. You should hear about birthrights and nationality, for you are not Negroes or what you claim to be. In the name of Allah and Ali, Islam to all. Join the MST. You should hear about birthrights and nationality, for you are not Negroes or what you claim to be. Learn your foreparents' ancient divine creed. Since 1913 I've been planting the seeds. Enemies planted agents, I had to leave. I know it was abrupt, but bear with me please. Among the many teaching, man have two selves. These are lower and higher. You want the one that justice breeds. Uplifting the Moors, be yourself is what you need. Ancient forefather didn't salat on their knees, not even under his own vine and fig trees. Fell to slavery for abandoning divine creeds. Denationalized since 1774. Now you hurt others with hands, tongues and thoughts. Confused at the roads when you see them cross. The object of Moor's life is to unfold, of course. Islam doesn't teach we were born in sin. If unlimited capacities can be found within, humanity has been left at the mercy of those who in them have no mercy. If only Allah guides the Moorish movement, the faith in your prophet, please don't lose it. In the name of Allah and Ali, Islam to all. Join the MST. You should hear about birthrights and nationality, for you are not Negroes or what you claim to be. In the name of Allah and Ali, Islam to all. Join the MST. You should hear about birthrights and nationality, for you are not Negroes or what you claim to be. Coming as he did with a national message. Many disrespect and don't get the lessons. Following the speakers, not the words spoken. Connected to the higher powers, all wires broken. This is our prophet and there's none left. False prophets point followers to the joys of death. Circle 7 says Jesus but means Ben Yosef. Where you find Allah, we know the heart is closest. To find a real prophet in these days is rare. Most propagate a faith to have the people in fear. Together we stand, divided we fall. Prophet said study the Constitution, cause law is all. Divine and national principle specific. His call to all loyal and faithful Moors is specific. Most made our prophet suffer severely in the past, waving banners with the claims of a national flag. In the name of Allah and Ali, Islam to all. Join the MST. You should hear about birthrights and nationality, for you are not Negroes or what you claim to be. In the name of Allah and Ali, Islam to all. Join the MST. You should hear about birthrights and nationality, for you are not Negroes or what you claim to be. If you have race pride and love your race, join the MST and you must make haste. If Europeans help, then why not you? I'm your prophet, who you think I came here to? Redeem from the slavery state that's mental. Get off your 4 legs and out the kennel. This field is open to strong men and women, willing and seeking the kingdom of heaven. Lack of sincerity is in the churches. Lack of truth makes all religions worthless. I took a red pill and blue pill to know the ledge. Tree of life ciphers dance in my head like sugar plums. If you're sick, lime and a shot of rum. New wine and old skins will have you wasting some. Tried for many years, they still blind and dumb. Standing on the corner pushing crack and crime and guns. Hanging at high noon, a star called sun. Bleaching the sellouts' bones dry and they asking why. Schemers walk and traders grin all the time. On the high road I watch them fall for the last time. In the name of Allah and Ali, Islam to all. Join the MST. You should hear about birthrights and nationality, for you are not Negroes or what you claim to be. In the name of Allah and Ali, Islam to all. Join the MST. You should hear about birthrights and nationality, for you are not Negroes or what you claim to be.
You remember the last meeting? I was speaking about religious freedom. I was speaking about how if America said mass vaccination of smallpox, how we could say we don't want to get it under religious freedom. Right after that, didn't the president announce mass smallpox and vaccination, everything? So it's just showing you we got to stay in tune with the times. The prophet also said, quote, prophecy number 57, he says, quote, watch the newspapers and listen to the radio. I am going to make the European tell the truth. So he's saying in the last days, listen carefully. What you hear in the newspapers, what you see on the news. He said because he's going to make them tell the truth at that time. And as you listen carefully, you could distinguish the truth from what they're saying.
Islam Moors. Peace and love, Canaanland Moors class. Let's just all rise and do our honors. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day, to his holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, Islam. To be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical, agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. We'll address this too. Everybody has this thing about which ID is right, which one's wrong, whose works, whose doesn't work, whatever. Regardless of what, as Aboriginal and Indigenous people, we have a right to identify ourselves. However you do that, it's up to you. You know what I mean? It's birthrights. But there's a point of not being an island. Making sure that you're on the mainland. If you're on the mainland, then you're dealing with a body of people who are probably doing the same thing that you're doing. The body of people who are doing the same thing that you're doing should all have the same identification, so confusion is not caused. Noble Drew Ali started that in the 1900s. A standard of what, if you say the nationality card, it's supposed to look a certain way, right? He also told the Moors that your nationality card is going to change in your pocket. Why would it change in your pocket? Because with time, things change. So, Moors who have an allodial nationality card are in a certain mind frame. Based on that mind frame, they understand, overstand, and understand that as a body of Moors, we've been identifying ourselves this way since the 1900s. I'm talking about allodial card-carrying Moors. Because one thing that the dirty Moors didn't trademark was the nationality card. One thing the dirty Moors didn't copyright was the nationality card. They copyrighted all the other symbols, everything else. Told people they can't use this, can't do that, can't wear this, can't wear that. When you see people play this game of Moors get arrested because they show a nationality card, Moors should look at it like it's because. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Now, let's just, because he's saying something specific with regard to Moors and these cards that they're quote-unquote flashing. Which means that obviously there were people flashing cards back then for him to mention it. And then for him to mention it in what's supposed to be read in every meeting. So he told the Moors, don't flash your cards.
said flashing. Flashing. Building trades. Pieces of sheet metal or the like used to cover and protect certain joints and angles, as where a roof comes to contact with a wall or chimney. 2. Act of creating an artificial flood in a conduit of stream, as in a sewer, for cleansing it. And then we go to flash. Flash, now, a brief, sudden burst of bright light, a flash of lightning. 2. A sudden brief outburst or display of joy, wit, etc. A very brief moment, instant. Flashlight, news flash, flash lamp, and then it goes into stuff like that. So, don't flash your cards at European because it causes confusion. Because remember that as Moors, we are the marvelous light. We're the marvelous light. Because why? Because Juali brought us into that. And, you know, if we're in it, obviously we're it. So, don't take flashing your cards as don't present your nationality when these demons come and try to violate your rights. You better have something to say you're not Negro, black, colored. Because the officer already came out, said, you know what I mean, you know, it's the officer, you know, he's the law or whatever. He came out and told lady, we only kill black people. So, I don't need any more than that. That alone is going to make me proclaim my nationality tomorrow. Just that statement that he made, that his boss even came out and said, you know, well, I don't know what's in his heart, but I know what came out of his mouth, which implies that's where his heart's at. So make sure you don't misinterpret, because people are going to, you know what I mean, use that on you. Oh, you sure your card European, that's why you get stuff. Oh no, we get stuff because they're mercenaries. We get stuff because they're violators of rights. We get stuff because they practice color of law and impose color of law on anybody who claims to not be a color. Right? So it's not what Moors do. So no Juali telling you don't flash your cards, because the nationality card is going to blind people. Everybody who showed a nationality card knows what I'm talking about. Anybody who said, you know, I'm a Moor to somebody knows what happened after to that individual. Right? Whether it was, you know, they became discombobulated, they don't even know where to go because of that statement or that card. Moors have been to the store, gave the card, they got to call managers and all that stuff because everybody's in limbo, don't even know what to do. I never seen this before. Did Canada give you guys this? Where did this come from? How do you make this? What? You guys don't ask anybody else no questions when they show stuff. I mean, back in the day, we would have not our credit cards and buy stuff. And nobody questioned anything. So flashing your card is blinding. Right? Remember, the only people scared of light is vampires. Go watch all the Blade series. Which, you know, a Moor, Wesley Snipes, he's a Moor, he was Nuwapian or whatever, right? He was the star, living in both worlds, the demon world and the real world, right? Don't get confused with what Noble Juali said, right? Which is why I tell Moors, ask Brother Amari, forget nationality card, forget papers, forget right to travel, forget whatever else. Get you some dictionaries and start looking up things so you know what's being said, and in turn you know what you're saying. Because, you know, again, it causes confusion. Stop flashing your cards, it causes confusion. Because we don't want to engage them when they're in the confused mindset. That's why before you tell them, you go to the supervisor, right? And then the supervisor come up, and he look at the card, bam, bam, do whatever, and it's not an issue. Because he's coming out with the shades on. That, you know, the low-level individual, they're not privy to no shades. Just like when you watch little shows and they talk about, you know, this is above your clearance level. All right, shades is above the dummy's clearance level. Right? Which again goes back to these people that are playing this game about upload videos of Moors getting arrested to imply that that's how that went down. Because they said they're a Moor, look what happened. Every single one of those uploads, guarantee you, they're dealing with the guy who came out the car. They're not dealing with supervisor. They're not dealing with somebody with the shades. So when they say nationality, this guy, remember, because we're not dealing with somebody at goddamn cash register right now. We're dealing with guys, baton, gun, taser, you know what I mean? Could call other people to come with guns, tasers, whatever, baton, do whatever they want to do. Right? Every instance where you have a Moor ask for the supervisor or somebody who's that individual's boss, or if they're playing like they don't want or whatever like that, calling 911 themselves and telling the 911 people on the phone, you need to send a supervisor here. And they already know, they got the call, they already know where they're at and all that stuff. Supervisors come in 2 seconds. Now you deal with what you're supposed to deal with. Because at that point it's not flashing anymore. At that point you're presenting your nationality. You're putting them on notice of your position. Remember, you're talking to the supervisor now, so he has the shades on. He's not going to be automatically, as soon as he shows up. And then again, this goes back to, are we Moors? Are we Negroes trying to be Moors? If we're Moors, then whatever's on the nationality card should match what they see. Fez, turban, whatever else. Because that's what's on the stuff. You expect them to accept the name on there. You expect them to accept the mailing location. You expect them to set, you know, race is human. You expect them to accept eye color, all the stuff that's written, flip it to the back, all the symbols, flag on there. You expect them to accept all that. So you should expect them to accept the picture. So automatically, as soon as they come out, and keep in mind, for the Moors in Canaanland, that we've been out here since 2008. Trust me, they know who the Moors are. Forget Negro, black, colored people. Everybody in Canadian government, whatever, they know who the Moors are. And their theme right now is tie the Moors to the same sovereign citizen, free man on the land, whatever like that, to try to cloud it. To make it look like, oh, we're just like those guys trying to get away with something or whatever. And that's not really what's going on. Right? Oh, actually. Right? It's not our stuff. This is their stuff. Right? Minister of National Revenue, October 11 this year, right, addressed to Kudro Adwo El, right, Mr. Adwo El and all that. And then location, right. Okay. Blue ink signature. It's not my stuff, this is their stuff. So clearly they know. Because it's on the record what Kudro Adwo El came from. Like they can check, you know what I mean? Because the proclamation papers that they got say which name I corrected from. So it's not like they can't check and say, oh, he's pretending he's a free man on the land. No, he's not. He's not none of that stuff. He's the name on the birth certificate and address that. They chose to address Kudro Adwo El, right? Thank you for your correspondence about your tax obligations to Canada and also for your understanding regarding the delay of this response. The documents you sent have no legal force and do not release you from your obligations or cancel your rights as a taxpayer. Although you have a right to your opinions, you are still responsible for your tax obligations under legislation passed by Parliament and enforced by the courts. Taxpayers who follow misleading information and accept incorrect advice expose themselves to serious financial and legal difficulties, including reassessments, penalties, and interest charges. The federal government has the legal authority to assess and collect taxes. Every major court decision in the subject has confirmed this authority and the constitutionality of Canada's tax system. The courts have upheld the legality of the income tax under the Constitution Act, which includes the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, the Income Tax Act, the Excise Tax Act, and their associated regulations outlining the methods used to calculate taxes payable and refunds. Section 248 of the Income Tax Act gives a definition of person, or any word or expression described as person. Various individuals and groups have been referring to terms such as instrument, natural person, corporation soul, animator, human being, I am, and free man on the land, whose meanings are unclear and do not affect a person's obligations under the Act. It is important to remember that the federal government uses the taxes it collects to maintain Canada's infrastructure and support Canada's social and benefit programs. You can find a fact sheet addressing the misleading information about income tax and the duties of the CRA, Canada Revenue Agency, at cra.gc.ca/myths and other useful information. I trust the information I have provided is helpful. Sincerely, the Honorable Diane Lebouthilier. Now let's just, because I'm pretty sure if they say that they're, you know, federal government and stuff like that, that they should be dealing with law. And then if they're dealing with law, let's just see what person means. Now remember, they're saying Income Tax Act is what gives them the authority to say what person means. Right now, the act itself is a fraud, because you can Google W.F. Kuhl, K-U-H-L, and his parliamentary, because remember they're talking about parliament in here, right? Legislation passed by parliament and all that. So a member of parliament telling the Canadian government that they don't even have a constitution. You can't even talk about anything after a constitution if you don't have a constitution. This is what he's telling federal people, because he's a member of their stuff. And why is he talking? Because when you check the Constitution Act of Canada, it only applies to members of parliament. So if you're not a member of parliament, then nothing called Canada anything should apply to you. If you're a member of parliament, then you're in the jurisdiction. Now, person. A man considered according to the rank he holds in society, with all the right to which the place he holds entitles him and the duties which it imposes. The word in its natural and usual signification includes women as well as men. That's a court case. The term may include artificial beings as corporations and foreign corporations under statutes forbidding the taking of property without due process of law and giving to all persons the equal protection of the laws. Corporations are persons, as the word is used in the first clause of the 15th Amendment. But a corporation of another state is not a person within the jurisdiction of the state until it has complied with the conditions of admission to do business in the state. When you again do your research as far as Canada is concerned, the only reason that there's supposed to be a tax is because it's war. And in order to pay for the war, they tax. Because the idea is they're defending the people. If the people are corporations, then what's that have to do with you? Again, they're putting it on the record that, forget what they said. They know who the Moors are. They addressed this to a Moor on their letterhead with blue ink signature. Because they know if we don't act like we know, then they won't act like they know. And you have to present yourself. But that doesn't mean flash. Because remember, as soon as you flash, as soon as you send them that package with your name proclamation or your name correction, judicial proclamation, and 500 other stuff in there, because you think that you got to prove something to them. You don't got to prove nothing to them. That's why the judicial proclamation is 2 pages, 4 pages or whatever. You're just putting them on notice of what your position is. Remember, your card is for your salvation. The card is for your salvation. What you should do, right? Flash yourself with your nationality card. Try that. See what happens. Take your nationality card, flash yourself. How much times have you even looked at your own nationality card? Like really looked at your nationality card? Front and back. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. Which, you know, the bus open window people and all that stuff. Right? That's the consequence. And Drawley said, good Moors, watch your coattails are going to get burned too. Not because you do something wrong, but yeah, everybody got lessons to learn. Ain't no big deal. You know, you get your coattails burned and then talk about you're not a Moor now. Why? It's part of growth. It's part of evolution. Something has to die in order for there to be growth. Something has to give up itself for something else to present. Right? We are for love, truth, peace, freedom. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. So we are for love, truth, peace, freedom. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom. That's what we're for. Right? And when these principles are violated, not just Moors, because we adhere to those principles, but outside people. If outside people don't adhere to what we're repping as Moors, love, truth, peace, freedom, that's what we're repping as Moors. If somebody's not down with that, clearly you have to keep your eye on them people. You know? But then again, you don't have to, because you know, if they violate, justice is going to deal with them. You don't worry about them. That's where people misinterpret. Like, you know, you're wasting time going after these people. I ain't worried about them. There's an opportunity to put out information and slap some people. Prove their incompetence. To show how incompetent our people are. Because they're listening to incompetent people. Don't care about them. All we need is that one. That one that sends an email and says, yo man, I've been freaking watching your stuff for 3 years, man. Thank you. All right. Yes. Did my job. That's what all the ancestors say, you know. All you just get one. Forget masses. You know, masses waking up. Talking to my mom about that today. He's like, black people are not getting anything. Black people not getting anything. Just because they don't want to sacrifice. Black people have nothing because they don't want to take any risks. Mom's 60-something. Already went through the ringer, retired and all that stuff. Chilling now. You know what I mean? Sitting in the chair looking back at stuff like, yeah, freaking messed up. Our generation messed up. This is what Mom's saying. Because certain stuff that we got, we didn't pass it on. We told you about go get degrees and masters and go get all that BS instead of learn a trade. Like your granddad did, and his granddad, everybody going down the line had a trade. And then at her generation it stopped. Go to school, go learn some BS. Right? Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. They would receive their reward for being unjust. They're going to receive the reward for being unjust. Just like they're going to receive a reward for not respecting the 4 principles. Because the reward is justice. You know, and justice is a good thing. Ain't nothing wrong with justice. It's one of the principles. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. And if they lose confidence in their prophet, so if Noble Drew Ali is not up front and they're telling you about everything else, right? They should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where the prophet found them. So, you know, that lets you know where you're supposed to be at with regard to this information. If the people who are, remember, Noble Drew Ali told the Moors in the stuff to be read every meeting, that nobody reads every meeting. We're talking about Moor Science Temple people. Right? We're not talking about just Moors out there doing whatever. They do whatever they want. When it comes to Moor Science Temple. These are things that Noble Drew Ali left for Moors to read every meeting. And they weren't read for 80 years. They're just coming out right now. And nobody's not addressing these people who never read this stuff for 80 years. They're still going to the meetings with them not reading the meeting when they know that there's stuff to be read every meeting. So is how incompetent people are. And either you're going to be with a body that is competent, or take off your stuff and just be nigger. Don't even worry about this. Don't even, you know what I mean? Forget about trying to get cards and try to do this and that. Just go be nigger and do what it is that you think is the thing to do. Because you don't want to study prophet stuff. You want to study this guy who said he wrote some book of whatever. This guy over here said it, whatever like that. And Drew Ali stuff, that's just, you know, whatever. You know, justice will take its course. So, you know, it's on the people who have this. Right? That's the only people that it's on, the ones who have this. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if the Prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The Prophet, therefore, is sending out a divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their temple and the Prophet. All Moorish Americans to do their part in protecting what, you know what I mean, was left, the legacy. This is an everlasting movement founded by the Prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Right? And the sinful ways, we're classing ourselves as undesirables, having names of other people and thinking we're somebody. We're somebody, but we have somebody else's name. That they're getting all the props, no matter what we got. To be proclaimed at every meeting. I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. And Islam to all the Moors worldwide, the faithful Moors that have received the truth and the divine truth from their Prophet and continue to receive truth and divine truth, because you already know learning doesn't stop. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people on our side of the nation that claim it was only a joke and unreal. Everybody out here that has dark skin, they're Moors, they should be saying that they're Moorish American. Host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people on our side of the nation. The Negro black colored people are unconscious Moors. They're on our side of the nation. They just don't know themselves. They're oblivious to who they are. No matter how we tell them. But trust, everybody knows that they're Moors. They call themselves whatever they want. People on our side that claim it was only a joke and unreal. All these people, you know, making their little videos, doing their little debates, trying to, you know, go at Moors when they're going at themselves. Because they're Moors. Whatever the block is in their mind, why they don't want to accept the fact that they're Moors, only they know that. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon. All Asiatics must depend upon going back to the mindset of their ancient foremothers and forefathers. Many have already. Ben did it. It's only the weirdos, the supernatural beings in North America that don't want to be supernatural. They want to be mundane. Content in mundane. But now since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole salvation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they themselves may take charge of the situation. Again, all these stateless people taking a position of go at their own nationality, but never go at themselves for being stateless. Never go at themselves for coloring practice or for practicing color of law. Never go at themselves for calling themselves continents and adjectives or whatever, but they're going to go at Moors who have received their earthly salvation as American citizens, which is why it's important for you to know the truth about your nationality and birthrights. Because whoever's got it, got it. If you don't got it, you better find out. And the only way you're going to find out is if you do it. That's why Drawley puts it all on you. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I am calling upon all Moors, all faithful Moors, to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. Your prophet. It's not Moorish Science Temple's prophet, Moorish Divine Movement's prophet. It's your prophet. Your divine Moorish movement. Your divine Moorish movement. You can just go on YouTube. Who controls the Moorish Science Temple of America? If you haven't seen that before, look that up. It's an oldie but goodie. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. So, when Noble Drawley said, I need finance, it wasn't for him. He didn't say finance for me. Oh yeah, give me finance. These guys have, yeah, I have a PayPal, you know what I mean, support my stuff, you know what I mean, we're going to build a school. And then people are in the jacuzzi with European women and stuff like that talking about they're on vacation. And then they come back and then, you know, people still support them people. Drawley said I need finance, need it badly. So once again, you know what I mean, for the Moors, especially the Moors that are part of something that is doing uplifting work with regard to Moorish nationality and birthrights, you're obligated to put your finance in. Trust me, the Buddhists that have the marble temple out here, they built it by themselves. People who were Buddhists said, hey, we should have a temple. How much money you got? Well, I got, you know what I mean, whatever. Okay, well, how much you got? Well, I got whatever, but I want a plaque or whatever. How about we give you a statue? All right, so I'll even put extra for that. All right, what you got? Well, I ain't got nothing, but, you know, I have a team of guys that we can, you know what I mean, do whatever in 24 hours. We just have, you know, a little, where we want to have our little meetings or something, we might need a space, you know, maybe we could use a space, we're going to help out, you know. Sure, no problem. You guys can build your own separate stuff outside. Build your own stuff on our grounds. You could have your own little room, do your little stuff over there. If you can build stuff like that. And then that's how they get their stuff done. So, they're not looking at what they're going to get, because they know once they put it, they're going to get something. It's not even a question. It's not a question. Once they support, okay, there's something's going to come out. Something has to come out of it. Might not be what you want, but trust something's going to come out of it. That will be beneficial to you, you know, when it's supposed to be beneficial to you. On your terms, you're nobody. Look how big the sun is, and look how Earth is, and then look at us. Grains of sand. Nothing here. So make sure that you deal with always the higher realms, the esoteric realms, the Gnostic realms, the Hermetic realms, the occult realms, the numerology realms, the astrology realms. Don't worry about cards and papers and all that stuff there. That's low level, right? Truth and divine truth. Not just truth only, divine truth as well. Which you look up divine, there ain't nothing about papers and pearly gates and honey rivers and stuff like that. In no divine. Right? It ain't happening. If they have a gate in heaven, then they got that stuff from somewhere. Where they get that? Flowers, all these virgins and stuff like that for when you... So, don't get caught up in the mundane. Right? Don't look at you're losing something. Like I'm saying, the Buddhist people, they built their stuff here. Like they built their temple. And then again, everybody knows once you have the finance, who's gonna say no? If it's all about finance, then once you put on the briefcase, who's gonna say, nah, I don't want to work with you because, you know, you guys are Moors and you're on the list of whatever. Looking at that. And again, we're not talking about something that's not a reality. You know what I mean? Because Drew Ali, everything that he got was for the Moors. He didn't get anything for himself. He was just another Moorish American, just like, you know what I mean? Like, he was just another Moorish American privy to some info. And he put everybody on. Put a group of people around him, taught everybody, like, yo, this is what it's about, bam, 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 everybody. And then he dies and all those people take that stuff and they go do whatever for themselves and leave the people destitute. This is what's gone on in the Moorish movement. Bury the prophet. Talk about stuff, talk about Moors nationality and all that stuff. Don't be talking about Noble Drew Ali and all that. Because, you know, putting that name in the ethers stimulates the ethers. Especially if the individual with the right frequency or whatever puts that in the ethers. Right? Moors will tell you. He'll come to you in a dream and put you on to stuff. Moors who are in it like that, like I only had one dream of the prophet ever. And it wasn't a negative. It was like a positive. Right? So I know that it's factual. Because even when you read the literature and he's saying, yo, the devil can't steal my appearance. If I come to you in a dream, that's me for real. So if you dreamt about the prophet, that's the prophet for real. Now whatever he put onto you, whether you just sat there, said nothing, whether he took you somewhere into some realm of something like that, that was real. Because we're talking about somebody who was around, you know what I mean, like in the flesh. People knew him. People who we know and we hear about today knew who he was. And they knew his spiritual status. Right? And he put everybody on. Why? Because the job is uplifting fallen humanity. Why wouldn't you put everybody on? For nothing. Just at expense. 25 cents to print this thing, you know what I mean? Give me 50 cents so I can cover my expense. You know what I mean? Right? I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. And just go Chicago Defender newspaper, Noble Drew Ali, and see how much stuff that they were reporting on, the good stuff that they were reporting on, relative to Moors and Noble Drew Ali and Moorish Science Temple and all that. So you can know what it is that this man brought you, and you know where we're going today, how people are trying to convince you that, you know, he's some imposter or he's some fraud. When again, we have a track record of people who have been teaching the teachings of Noble Drew Ali to our people. And when certain people were teaching, there weren't people around saying that you want to debate them and all that stuff. It wasn't happening. Where were the debaters then? So why should they even be considered credible today if they weren't around as long as the people who have the track record? Right? Like we said, whack-a-mole. That's how they're popping up right now. Right? And you know, another thing that my mom came to the realization of, you know, being in retirement and stuff like that, being able to, you know, analyze some things without the stress of, you know, work and whatever like that. You know, white man did anything. Can't blame the white man. It was our people. No way it's the white man. Can't be. Because everybody other than us is successful. And they're not even from here. This is not me talking, this is my mom talking. Everybody's from here. Like she told a story about when I was a child, I don't know if she was on the bus or she went somewhere or whatever. An Indian lady from India came to her, opened my hand, put money in it, and closed my hand, and told my mom, in our culture, right now keep in mind, my mom's a black lady. Why this Indian lady even decided to, you know what I mean? Who knows, whatever. But the story goes that the Indian lady said that, you know, in our culture, every single time a child's born, we do that. Because we don't want them to have the mindset that money's dirty. So we, as soon as they come out the womb, they do this. Because, you know, the hand's going to be clenched. It's going to hold it. Or he or she is going to hold it. Right? Because this is something in our culture that we do, that we've been doing. This is just something that we do. So every time a child's born, put the money in the hand, close the hand, and that's the ritual. And then we look at, you know, them and stuff that they're doing or whatever like that. You know, like I said, you know, already know, working the school board or whatever like that, you go check the graduating list or whatever like that. 18 letter last names and stuff like that on the, you know, honor roll and whatever. Then you reach to some of those people and they're working in some aerodynamic whatever of the whatever. But all we want to do is be LeBron and rapper guy. Right? So, know that even without people really knowing, they're coming into their thinking again. You know what I mean? You know, they might still be doing things that might be considered, you know what I mean, lower self, but their minds are floating into realms that they might not have really thought it would go there. Now, this is uploaded December 2016. Right, again, we constantly have to bring people back to why is it that Noble Drew Ali is not around anymore? How is it that we know about everybody else, and this individual, it's the hardest individual to find information on? And if you find information, there's going to be confusion with it. That's just what it is, right? Until you get to the right source where you can actually, you know, make sense of what it is that he came for. You know, and the importance of him doing what it is that he did for the jurisdiction of North America that has a high population of highly melanated people, right? The importance of his connection to all these people. And, you know, this is part of our protecting the Prophet and protecting the integrity of the Moorish movement when people talk crazy about it, as if it has nothing to do with them, right? So, it's called Errors of the Moorish Science Temple. Now, what we're going to be reading from today, relative to, you know, correcting the concept as far as the errors that's going to be presented. Of course, some Moorish literature and Journal of the Moorish Paradigm, Master Issue 13 by Brother Hakim Bey. Right? Because this is dealing with this idea of Noble Drew Ali, you know, not being a prophet, or, you know, his prophethood being downplayed. Right?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulullahi Kareem. I'm about doing this video because in the last few days I've been I don't want to say debate, but in an intellectual argument with members of a group, or they call sheiks of a group called the Moorish Science Temple of America, who run around using a lot of Islamic terminologies, who run around causing confusion with when people are trying to give dawah. They can cause confusion because of some of the things that they believe in and they follow. The bone of contention that I had with them was that they said this man, Timothy Drew Ali, who they call the Noble Drew Ali. They said this man was a prophet, and they said this man was sent by Allah, and they said that this man brought a book, another Quran, and or something. If you read it, it's but anyways,
Right, so page 4. Prophet Noble Drew Ali was born Timothy Drew in North Carolina, January 8, 1886. As can be seen, he was a prophet from among us, homegrown, and not a foreigner speaking a foreign language. Not much is known about his early life prior to becoming the prophet of Allah. All we have is what has been handed down to us by the Moorish elders. The elders said the prophet founded the first temple in Newark, New Jersey in 1913. It was during this time, between 1913 and 1916, and just prior, that the prophet was said to have learned Islam and the truth of our Moorish heritage. It was also during this time that he was said to have been put through the test of prophethood and to have received the title Ali. During this time, he was recognized as the prophet and the one representing our people among the nations of the world. In 1916, he founded the Moorish Divine and National Movement. Between 1916 and 1919, he stayed with the original Canaanite temple, but a foreign Islamic teacher came in and began to discredit the prophet as not teaching true Islam and for not teaching Arabic. This struggle ultimately divided the membership, and the prophet went to New York City to link up with Marcus Garvey's UNIA movement. Marcus Garvey is said to be the John the Baptist of the prophet Noble Drew Ali. He came to prepare the descendants of a Mexim for the prophet's coming. Around the circles of the Garvey movement, the prophet was known as the Prince and the Professor Drew, the Egyptian addict. He began to have an influence on Garvey's UNIA movement, Hebrew movements, and other movements among our people. His influence in the UNIA can be seen in the quotes below. Garvey once said, "Muhammad suffered many defeats at certain times, but Muhammad stuck to his faith and ultimately triumphed, and Mohammedanism was given to the world. And as Muhammad did in the religious world, so in the political arena, we have had men who have paid the price for leading the people toward the great light of liberty." Arnold Hosea Ford, the musical director of the UNIA, utilized the symbols of Islam in several of his musical compositions for the organization. Allahu Akbar was the title of one of his hymns. Other pieces made similar references. May our rights proclaim, in the most sacred name Allah, one God, one aim, one destiny. Right? So again, you see how this individual's influence, right, and not just him, but other Moors, Deuce Muhammad Ali, another one, that came to the so-called Negroes in America, connected, linked up, unified with the most effective at the time, Marcus Garvey. They didn't link up with anybody else, right? They gave him the necessary keys, which again, when you look at Marcus Garvey's track record, he did everything for the people. He did nothing for himself. Everything he did was so that his people can have something. This is a standard. This is why, again, they would say Marcus Messiah Garvey. Everybody reps that Marcus Garvey is the Messiah of black people. Everybody reps that. They don't challenge and say, well, Jesus is the only Messiah and he's the one that came for all the people. You can't call him that. Anybody who knows Garvey, they know. Why is it different with Noble Drew Ali? How come when he says prophet, How come when he has the name Ali, which is, you know, one of the names of Allah, he's looked at like he doesn't have it going on properly by people who look like him? And they're going to believe in a Muhammad that they tell you there's no pictures of him. No images of him. Can't have it. But a prophet who they can see with their own eyes, even if it's in a picture, they're not going to go with that one. They're going to go with the invisible one. Remember, these people look like the prophet. As can be seen, he was a prophet from among us. It's like I had the button, the prophet button. And I believe she was Muslim. Just who's that? That's Prophet Noble Drew Ali. He was Cherokee. And he came and he brought our people from being black to going back to their culture. You know what I mean? And then I had the black sweater and, you know, the language barrier, but everybody understands symbols and signs. So when I have a black jacket and my skin's brown, and I'm telling her, like, not like this, like this. And she's like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. That man came and told you that. That's good. She wasn't questioning anything. But remember, she's not from over here. She's Ethiopian or whatever. So she already has a certain mindset with regard to certain things. Right? Just like the Christ. There ain't no one Christ. We know for a fact that ain't no more prophets going to be coming. We know that. We know the line's done. But again, when we look at Noble Drew Ali, he gave honors to all the prophets before him. He didn't diss them. Like, no, they're not the prophet, I'm the prophet. Their time is over and now it's my time. He gave honors to them. It's only right that the people who follow these prophets give honors to Noble Drew Ali if he's honoring their prophet. But that's when it gets into the power, the fame and nobility. That people look at the fame and nobility as some stuff he got from some queen or something like that. That's from Allah, the fame and nobility Noble Drew Ali has. You have no fame and nobility because somebody, you know, put the sword on his head or whatever like that, made him somebody. Many people are familiar with the phrase, one God, one aim, one destiny. But very few know that it was preceded with, may our rights proclaim in the most sacred name Allah. These are Garveyites. Now, if the Garveyites, Rastafarians and whoever else are going to say they have nothing to do with Islam, when there's stuff they loves to chant that Marcus Garvey said, one God, one aim, one destiny, we're heading toward the motherland and the whatever. Well, how come you guys leaving out the Allah part? Why is the Allah part left out? Clearly somebody's playing games. Clearly there's games being played. Because, you know, you have this idea that Islam belongs to people who say they're Muslim. Islam don't belong to no Muslims. How's peace belong to Muslims only? Peace belongs to Muslims only? Father of all creation, Allah omnipotent, supreme over every nation. God bless our president. That's what they're saying to Marcus Garvey, the president of the UNIA. When they have a convention and thousands of people are there, all these thousands of people are talking about Father of all creation, Allah omnipotent, but they're not Moors. Remember, the Quran was put out for those who love Jesus. But when you come in the doors, you know Jesus going on in here.
First creation and fall of man, education of Mary and Liz and Zoan, the unity of life, Elihu's lesson, death is a ministry. In Manetho's lesson, after the feast we build with carpenter's tools on the life of Yahshua in the Muslim schools until Lamas explained the meaning of truth. Yahshua reveals sinful ways when they strayed from Ruth. At the feast in Bahar taught equality, and that between Allah and man is unity. Like Yahshua and Barada, we read scrolls sacred, using eternal happiness to clothe the naked. In Egypt, among Gentiles, tremendous works. Defeat the 3 temptations to examine your worth. Washing your hands, can't clean karmic dirt. Lying disciples didn't steal the body and splurt. When I left to appear fully materialized before Apollo and the silent brotherhood's eyes. Even in India, I appeared to Eastern sages. Came back to the Americas to save the nations. Living in sin, where should I begin? No brethrens, just a dusty book from the monks Tibetan. As Aquarian Gospels, I learned those lessons with a Moorish spirit spilling as the circle 7. Holy instructions and warnings to all young men. Marriage instructions, even duties of a husband. Holy instructions for children toward their mom and father's obedience. Holy covenant of nations Asiatic. Holy unity of rich and poor is in the attic. Master servant duty shall become a pleasure. Social duties by the prophet, Allah's treasure. Justice, charity, gratitude, sincere religion. Know thyself, inhale the breath of heaven. Speak the soul of man, reach the wisdom pinnacle. The instability of man is no miracle. In constant weakness, cause knowledge is insufficient. Lower self has the higher self in submission. Inconstancy and weakness, it cause misery. Origin of Asiatic, start of Christianity. After we left the capital and fulfill prophecy. Fallen sons of daughters, no hate, start loving me, your prophet. Without a rocket, meet you on the soul plane. Higher than Siphon, 7 lines of cocaine. You won't have to do that to hear me speak. Open your heart to the Most High, bump into a sheik. Fez might be red, black or blue. He might teach you about Bohemian Grove or Olokun. When I left to appear fully materialized before Apollo and the silent brotherhood's eyes. Even in India I appeared to Eastern sages. Came back to the Americas to save the nations. Living in sin, where should I begin? No brethrens, just a dusty book from the monks Tibetan. As Aquarian Gospels, I learned those lessons with a Moorish spirit spilling as the circle 7. When I left to appear fully materialized before Apollo and the silent brotherhood's eyes. Even in India I appeared to Eastern sages. Came back to the Americas to save the nations. Living in sin, where should I begin? No brethrens, just a dusty book from the monks Tibetan. As Aquarian Gospels, I learned those lessons with a Moorish spirit spilling as the circle 7.
The UNIA was for the Negro. But when you come in here, you're being brought back to your true religion of Islam. Hence, Father of all creations, Allah the Omnipotent, said by Garveyites about Marcus Garvey, their president. Yeah, remember we were saying that there was a connection. There was a connection. The tie between Marcus Garvey and Noble Drew Ali was based in Islam. The tie between Marcus Garvey and Deuce Muhammad Ali, based in Islam. The tie between Elijah Muhammad and Marcus Garvey, based in Islam. That was the underlying current that created the frequency which everybody should be on now that we're Moors. If you rep Garvey and they're talking about Allah, you're not Muslim. Clearly you're not Muslim. If you're a Rastafarian, clearly you're not Muslim. You wear a turban and all that stuff, but you're not Moors? How you wear a turban but you're not Moors? Sri Lankans got their turban. The Moros got their turban. Now, these people in North America talking about Allah and that the most sacred name, Allah, one God, one aim, one destiny, but they're not Moors. They want to know why the world doesn't respect black people. Especially when they, you know what I mean, think, oh yeah, they learned Arabic, now they're really Muslims. But they don't know about Noble Drew Ali. And not only don't they know, they're not even trying to find out. Because they're stuck in the ice age that Muhammad is the prophet, the last prophet. He's the seal. As leader of the black Jewish movement in the 1920s, Arnold Josiah Ford, particularly sensitive to the issue of signification and alternative religious identities in the UNAA. By 1924, Ford was rabbi of the black Jewish congregation Beth B'nai Abraham in Harlem, which we know as the Moorish Zionist Jews. The Moorish Zionist Jews. Right? The tie between Jews and Moors. So all Hebrews talking about today that they're not Moors. Only our people are our enemy when it comes to our nationality and birthrights. The colonists is feeding off of our people when they fight us. They're not fighting us. They're using the energy of our people who don't know about this nationality and birthrights. Whether it's financial energy or whatever, but they're getting energy from them people and they're using that against us. Because too many Moors have been in the cell after the hoopla, after the video got uploaded and all that stuff. After that, when they're in the cell, highwayman come in and telling them, help them get out of taxes and stuff like that. Open the cell, let them walk around all over the place. This is after. The stuff that people don't get to see where there's no uploads from that stuff. There's no upload from when, you know, they say, well, just sign here and we'll let you go. No tickets, nothing? No, just sign here. Our bad. Those stuff, you know, there's no video for that. And then of course, you know, they're not going to take someone's word because, you know, these are visual age people where it's only believable if they see it. They have to see it. If they can't see it, their mind can't comprehend it, which is backwards. Anything that the mind perceives, you're supposed to be doing out here, not here that way. Somewhere between 1919 and 1925, Prophet Noble Drew Ali returned to the South and to North Carolina where he was born. It was during this time that Allah spoke to Noble Drew Ali and ordained him the prophet. Allah instructed him to go west to Chicago, announce his prophethood, and begin his mission. It was also in December of 1925 that the crescent moon and star was seen hanging low in the western skies. Make sure you check the date, right? Just to see if it's, you know, that was really going on back then. Heralding the coming of the prophet, the return of the Mahdi, who would establish a new caliphate, divine government, here in the West, in fulfillment of the prophecies of Islam. So the prophecy, so Islam is conventional Islam is talking about return of prophets and whatever and all that stuff, right? But if that was written by the prophet, then clearly it's not him he's talking about. If the prophet is saying, yeah, a prophet's going to come and then he's going to teach you about some stuff, clearly the prophet talking is not talking about himself. He can't be talking about himself. Why would he be prophesizing what he's going to do? As a prophet, it would have been done. And again, if he's saying prophet, keep in mind he's also a seer. He's also a warlock. He's also a metaphysician. Right? He's also a high priest. He's also a high scientist. There is no coincidence that in 1925, within a year of the after decaying Islamic Caliphate in Turkey was taken down, Allah ordained a new prophet, thus beginning the new Caliphate here in the West. And again, we're dealing with, as Moors, all we have is what has been handed down by the elders, because we're the true Aboriginal and indigenous people. And flip the bird anybody who is not thinking what we're saying is credible. We don't care. This is oral tradition. Oral tradition that resonates with your spirit. That spirit is going to show you stuff to let you know that, oh yeah, this is really what it is. You don't need no Quran to tell you that this is what it is. If you're really in tune, you don't need no one-on-one questionnaire and all that stuff to know that this is what it is, to know that you're Moors. You don't need that. Because you're going to vibrate on a different frequency that you're going to recognize. You're vibrating on a different frequency. You're going to know. You're going to come to the self-realization that it's all about nationality and birthrights. Nothing else matters. The prophecies of the Mahdi. Muhammad al-Khatam al-Anibia has said, the sun will rise from the place of its setting. The sun will rise from the place of its setting, right? The west. If Muhammad is saying the son of the mother, the sun, right, will rise in the place of the setting, which is the west, and he's in the east, he's letting you know something. But if the people who claim to be Muslim are not doing it like how Muhammad did it, by being a Sufi, kissing walls and running around squares, cubes, is not Sufi. That's not mystical, metaphysical, nothing like that. Right? Just go watch the movie Cell, I think it's called. When the cell phones are turning everybody to zombies. And then in the end, all these zombies are just running around a freaking antenna or something. Looking just like certain things, the people running around stuff. Zombies. Trying to tell you that your prophet isn't really what it is. When their prophet telling you that a sun is going to rise in the west. That has nothing to do with him. That has nothing to do with the east. This is a message to the west people who say that they're Islamic or whatever. They claim that they're Islam, they're Muslim. All right, well, there's a sun that's going to rise in the west. But the sun's supposed to rise in the east. What the hell are you talking about? Right? Now the mundane people are going to think. But that's the prophet. You're going to oh, you're just going to blow by that part because you don't get it. And let's go into some other stuff. All right, let's go into some other stuff. Abdullah ibn Amir reported, I heard the messenger of Allah say, the first of the signs that will come out will be the rising of the sun in its place of the setting, and the coming out of the beast to the people at forenoon, and whichever of these two comes to pass before its companion, the other will be near its footsteps. And that's from Mishkat, M-I-S-H-K-A-T, hyphen ul, hyphen M-A-S-I-B-I-H. M-I-S-H-K-A-T, M-I-S-H-K-A-T, dash U-L, dash M-A-S-I-B-I-H, volume 4, page 53. Thus, as Muslims in the East are even to this day awaiting the Mahdi, little do they realize that he has already come. He has come from a rejected and despised people who would never have thought would produce their long-awaited Mahdi. The same way they, the Arabs, were seen when the Prophet Muhammad came from among them. Thus, we are now the portion of the Asiatic family from whom the last prophet has come from. We, the Asiatics of North America, the sons of the West. I remember, the son, it always includes mother, because there ain't no son without mother. So don't get caught up in the patriarchy, son, and it only means male. Right? The sun rising in the west. The sun rising in the west. Among these despised, rejected, can't do anything for themselves people. And he came, and people are going to say that he's not who he said he is when the so-called other prophets talk about his coming and try to convince you that they're the one. Because we don't know Arabic. So we don't know what it's saying, so they have to tell us. When Noble Ali was around, they weren't telling you nothing about Arabic or whatever. Like we said, go check the record. It was either you were Moorish Temple of America, Ahmadiyya Movement, NAACP, UNIA. There was nothing else to belong to in the 1900s. Or you're a slave on a plantation still, because you're like the dudes in the Django, sitting in the goddamn cage. The door's open and you're sitting there in the cage. Don't even goddamn know what to do with yourself. Doors flung open, other man jumped on a horse, gone. And these guys sitting there in the cage, looking at each other. Freedom presented itself, but they want to be Negro. They want to be Muslim. But they're really Muslim, which means that they're Sufi, they're metaphysicians. They're more scientists. They're not mere believers in some invisible stuff. The mere believers are the infidels, the pagans. Right? It's about higher knowledge. It's not about this low vibratory frequency, right? The routine. It's not about the routine. It's strictly about going against the grid. That's why Noble Drew Ali said Quran instead of Quran. That's why Noble Drew Ali said Fez. As we're playing around with, they don't want to get a Fez. You can't have a Fez around here and all that stuff. Go check the records. Same Turkey people who fell and all that stuff. Pakistani. Just go through all the countries who try to ban Fezes. Why are they doing that for?
During Ramadan, caps with a tassel attached are popular among Sufi men. With a tassel attached are popular among Sufi men. With a tassel attached are popular among Sufi men. Are popular among Sufi men.
Producers in Cirebon say the demand for the cap from across the archipelago is at its highest at this time of the year.
The cap produced in Cirebon is similar to the Turkish fez with a tassel attached. Every year during Ramadan, people making this cap, known as Pechi Kunchir or Pechi Sufi, see an increase in demand. Benda village in Cirebon City's Argosea urban ward bustles with activity during the fasting month as the number of workers jumps by some 50% to cope with the demand. And it's not just demand from West Java. Vendors say there are several requests from Central Java and even Batam, just south of Singapore. The caps are all handmade by residents around the Benda Islamic boarding school. They can be made with fabric of the customer's own choice. The textiles are cut according to pattern, ironed and sewn by hand. And, depending on the order, details can also be embroidered in. Unlike the skull cap or the black peci favored by most Indonesian Muslims, the peci kuncir is much taller and sports a tassel ornament on top. Caps can also be made of a combination of materials, including patterned textiles and sequins. The tassels can also take various forms.
Itu pesanan datang dari mana aja yang peci kuncir itu, Pak?
Dari Sukabumi, Cianjur. Kebanyakan kuncir itu.
Sampai luar Jawa juga? Sampai luar Jawa juga. Yang menjadi pembeda dengan peci lain apa?
Peci lain itu di tingginya.
Di tingginya lebih tinggi dan berkuncir itu ya, Pak? Berkuncir, ya.
The Pechi kunchirs sell from 25,000 rupiah and can fetch up to 40,000 rupiah, depending on the intricacy of the details and the material used.
Right? Because, symbolically take away the people's sovereignty. But then the prime minister or whoever fezzes up when he goes on TV. Bushman in the jungle, those guys are fighting for Islam or whatever, they got turban and fezzes up. They're not playing around like they're not Moors. Right? So again, the same way the Arabs, were seen when the Prophet Muhammad came from among them, thus we are now the portion of Asiatic family from whom the last prophet has come from. Al-Quran, Surah 70, verse 40, 41. But no, I swear by the Lord of the regions, in the east and the west, that we can certainly replace them with those better than them, and we cannot be defeated. Surah 16:36. And verily, we have raised in every nation a Rasul, messenger, proclaiming, serve Allah and shun Taghut, all false deities. Of the people were some whom Allah guided, and some on whom error became inevitable. So travel through the earth and see what was the end of those who denied the truth. This is the reason why the Arabs and many of the current Muslims of the East have and will oppose us as we rise. It is in the very prophecies of which they themselves hold in their hands. when the man of this matter appears, he will perceive from people who's worse than that the prophet has received. When our Hakim rises, he will face so much difficulty from the people that even a Nabi during the prophet of Jalila did not face. When a Nabi was appointed, people worshipped stones and wood. However, that's not going on today. Right? Everything is revelations. Everything is, we're living in the time of the signs. There's people worshiping wood today. Or they took the wood stuff and now they made it stone, put it on top of a building. However, when our Hakim arises, people will interpret the ordinances of Allah against his interpretation and will argue with him and dispute by means of the Quran. By Allah, the justice of the Hakim will enter inside their homes, just as the heat and the cold enter them. This was opposition actually fulfilled by a Muslim named Sati Majid, S-A-T-T-I-M-A-J-I-D, who was so outraged by the Prophet bringing a new Quran, quote unquote, he wrote the Prophet demanding that he change the name and burn the book. He even tried to get the United States government involved, but the government did not get involved and told Sati Majid to go to the men of knowledge and religion. Now, Noble Ali, now clearly they've been reading the Prophet stuff. If this guy's coming to the government officials who Noble Ali told the Moors, go to those guys, in an intelligent tone, and you're going to get a favorable reply. Right? He went in with his tone, got denied at the door, told them, you got a problem with some Islamic stuff? Go talk to Islamic people. Don't be talking to us. Right? He then went to the Muslim scholars in Egypt to get them to pronounce a fatwa against Prophet Noble Ali, which they did. They also, however, spoke against Sati Majid and his qualifications. Now, do you have to ask the question? If he's a Moor, Noble Ali, why are they going to Egypt with regard to something Islamic? Why are they going to Egypt with regard to something Islamic? Because Egypt's not Islamic. Or is Islam really Egyptian? Because the Moors are the custodians of ancient Egyptian culture. So when you're talking about these Muslim scholars in Egypt, don't get into this mindset about how these clowns talk about Moors invaded there and that's why Islam's there. And the pale people that's ancient Egyptian culture in a modern form. Because remember, Muslims, they didn't go to the Muslims of Egypt. They went to the Muslims. Why? Because they're Sufis. Because they're Gnostics. Which has nothing to do with some Islamic whatever. Allah doesn't have nothing to do. They're going to put fatwa against somebody who Allah, to him, is arm, leg, arm, head. That has nothing to do with Quran and all that stuff. They're going to say, oh yeah, he put out Aquarian Gospel. Well, what's Aquarian Gospel have to do with Islamic stuff? Why are they even concerned? The level that he was doing it on. Because it's very clear that he had inside information that was passed down to him by the elders on top of his own research. Journal of the Moorish Paradigm. They're old, but don't get it twisted. Right? And this is the master issue, number 13. One more thing. Addressing the misunderstandings and purpose concerning Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, Noble Drew Ali, the Moorish Divine National Movement, Hakim Bey. Professor Drew, the metaphysician. Noble Drew Ali was also known to learn Moors as Professor Drew. The fact that he was a philosophy doctorate, PhD, he had been overlooked by many who have studied his works, teachings, and instructions. However, any student or scholar who examines the nature of his writings, statements, and methods of presenting information to the people can easily recognize the ancient Moabite Moorish philosophy and mystic chamber culture infused throughout his dissertations. Professor Drew skillfully presented the ancient Moabite Moorish cosmo-philosophies to the Moors in a palatable manner and flavored with familiar forms. This is to rescue an idle, God-focused, and deicated people who more often than not reacted with a fear of or a disdain for higher knowledge and philosophy, especially that which competed with or contradicted the Roman Inquisition, oriented religious and political teachings and influences that they were accustomed to under forced servitude and corporate state wardship rulers. An example of the ancient Moorish cosmo-philosophy will be presented for you Moors to dissect and to analyze. This veiled presentment of the fallen Moors' true high culture, which for generations was held back, denied, and misrepresented. It has come to be unknown to those subjugated by and held to Rome's pontifex directed oppression. The suppressed people's only yoke and lot was to be the flawed and imposed Inquisition dogma, foul and putrid mind control. An example of the metaphysical, ancient Moabite Moorish cosmology culture is veiled in open sight, as shown in an excerpt from the Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, Circle 7, Chapter 1, Creation and Fall of Man. If Moors want to grab that. Make note of the underlined text. The spiritual dispensation goes as follows. Let every living thing stand still and hear. Man is the Lord of all the plane of manifest, of protopalast, of mineral, of plant, of beast, but he gave up his birthrights just to gratify his lower self. But man will regain his lost estate, his heritage, but he must suffer trials and temptations manifold. But let him know that cherubim and seraphim that rule the stations of the sun and the spirit of the mighty Allah who rule the solar stars are his protectors and his guide, and they will lead to victory. Right? So the metaphysics or the high knowledge, the PhD level, metaphysics, etc., was taught for the Moors. Right? Was taught for the Moors. so they can get themselves into that place. For Brother Bey, for the Moorish Paradigm, just look up Hakim Bey. If you can't find the website, I can't remember the website right now, but just shoot an email if you can't have it, and then what we would request that you do is that you contact him. He has stuff out there, website, whatever, and just get it from the source. You know what I mean? Because there's a source. He's still around. It ain't like you can't get it. And if it comes into an issue where you can't get it, then send an email or give me a call, and we'll organize it for you. But you know, we don't want to get into the thing of, you know, just sell people stuff, right? When we know that you can just go to the source. So there's a few questions that we had. Actually, we're full. So see how much of these we can get through. Brother Gomanico L sent this case study, Proofs by Moors versus American Indian Statements. Islam Moors, for all newcomers to the info, beware of the American Indian mindset people and the so-called Bays and Ls that are pushing the tribalism game. The situation deals with a sister by the appellation of Kia Bey. I suspect her integrity because she pushed that tribalism hard and spit on Moors. Kudro, may you share her comments. Condition to all Moors listening. The post was made about the book The Moors of Granada and a CMB quote. Some highlights are in attached files. Her statements are in blue. He is actually Estradumurian from Estramudra, not a Moor. He was described as a Moor. Moor is a descriptive term, just like saying someone is black or Christian. When asked the question, "Who are you?" he responded with his name, not with a descriptive term Moor. Proof against her erroneous statement. Bueno, the word is linked by jus sanguini and de jure jus soli, hence lawful status. The Al-Moroccan Empire was and is on both sides of the continent. Trust law is key. She then replied, the Moroccan Empire is a new empire, not an ancient empire. When describing yourself as a Moor, you still fail to answer some important questions, such as what tribe and what region. Morocco in no way, shape, or form recognize Americans calling themselves Moors. Go to their embassy in Washington, D.C., and you will be ignored unless you are a citizen of Morocco. Moor is descriptive and is no different than using the verbiage Moreno, colored, Negro, or African American. Moors come from a tribe before they were described as a Moor. The same so-called black people have tribal affiliations before being described as colored, Negro, etc. Moor is I am. It is not the look or appearance of it. Briefly, L3EB3 is my mtDNA haplogroup, from haplogroup L1 to L6. Hence, by bloodline and descendant of the de jure Paleo-American, recently via the Arawak clan living within Hispaniola or Kaiti, Haiti, Quisqueya, Cubanican, and the central South landmass. Empires have jurisdictions over the tribes. At this point, the competence was shown as being an internet bay. Moral of the case study. 1. Don't fall for that tribalism thing. 2. Study constantly etymology, jus sanguini and genetic, jurisprudence, trust law, and Aboriginal history. 3. Always search and listen carefully before opening the mouth. Islam. Right, and again, going back to Moors who are studying, have studied, and are realizing that if they're not standing up for their birthrights, then birthrights are going to get violated. It's just that simple. If you're not standing up for the prophet, the prophet's going to get violated. If you're not standing up for the principles, justice will then take its course. Right? Anitria Lawrence, where can I find the answer to what is the difference between United and Union States of America? Well, Union States is United States. They only say Union States to imply these modern Europeans unifying and calling themselves the state of something when they were just some Europeans unifying. So Union States is the same conglomerate that we're talking about when we say United States Corporation, United States of America, United States of America Republic, United States whatever. We're talking about some European stuff. Ain't nothing to do with us. It's just it's European stuff. The European concept, European idea, European government, European whatever that got permission from the Sultan to exercise here under the rules and regulations of the Constitution and the treaties and all treaties before that, which includes Aboriginal and Indigenous treaties that were real treaties with the Aboriginal people, not the treaties with the fake Aboriginal people that they keep violating. All right? And again, going back to the Brother Amari lesson, just get a dictionary that's unabridged and start looking stuff up and see how much stuff you'll get taught in a dictionary. That dictionary teach you so much stuff that you could just use dictionaries to learn. Again, which goes back to, that's why they were reading that when, you know, with Al-Hajj. You read no Bible, holy book, you're a dictionary. This was, now with regard to Moors and kidnappings and property getting taken and things like that, goes back to that thing again that we said from the beginning, that certain things that Moors want to exercise as an island, the only way that you're going to exercise certain things as an island is if that quote-unquote state is corporate on top of the republic. If it's corporate all the way through, then you're done for. Don't be playing island. The only places where Moors exercise right to travel as islands are the states that are willing to enforce their state constitution, because then it's tied to the national constitution, which, you know what I mean, they don't have no jurisdiction over somebody's private property. Somehow they get jurisdiction over private property. Now, out here, we know that even if we go pay cash, we're getting ownership. They're not giving you no certificate of origin or nothing like that. No manufacturer certificate. You're getting ownership. Right? That's what it is. Right? You might have to go somewhere foreign to get a manufacturer certificate. Here, dealership is giving you, here is Canaanland, dealership is giving you ownership. Because it has to be registered and have insurance and the whole stuff in order to be quote unquote on the road. So, yeah, we get that Moors are getting kidnapped. We get that Moors getting their property stolen. What jurisdiction are you in? Are you seeing corporate policy everywhere? If you're seeing corporate policy everywhere, it would be wise to tread lightly. And if you are going to tread as a body. Don't be treading as one individual. Because trust, they know how to make people disappear. We don't have to tell you that. They know how to make people disappear. As far as in the system, not disappear as in the system. They know how to do this. There's people who aren't guilty, that they're doing 30, 40 years or whatever. Then they find out that, oh yeah, we got DNA tests now and this guy's been innocent and he just did 40 years. So they know how to make people disappear. Drawley told them once, if you're doing something, do it in 3, 5, 7, 9, whatever. Never 1. Ever, ever, ever. Or 2. So if you're exercising as 1 or 2, don't get mad when you get violated, because, you know, Drawley didn't say exercise like that. There's a reason why. Because again, he's Egyptian adept. Again, like we said, you know, go do your study in numerology and then look up 3 and see what 3 means. To understand the significance of him saying these numbers is how Moor should be activating when they're being Moors. Right? Properties and stuff like that. Once it's registered, doesn't matter what name's on it, once it's registered, it's theirs. The only protection is having a religion or a religious institution to put the property in. Because nobody's going to mess with the religion. They just don't. That's just what it is. Once it's on the religious side, state is going to most times turn their head. Just because they know that they can't really mess with people's religion. If you say it's a religious whatever, they can't mess with it. Unless, you know, they know you're faking. Like when, like, you know, the Rasta goes to court and says, my tam is religious. Man, you take that stuff off or we're going to beat your head in up here. And then they don't take it off and then they get their head beaten. Then they say, oh, these guys are racist. No, that's not religious. That's why you got beaten. It's not they're racist. Right? They no more as I know ever had to take their fez off or turban off. They might have got challenged on it, but they got to leave their stuff on. Right? This idea of, I declared my nationality through RV Bey. Set yourself up. You just abandon your birthright. Because again, that's how we said, flash yourself your nationality card. Before you flash your nationality card to a European, flash yourself 10 times. Blind yourself 10 times with your own stuff before you go out there trying to blind people with stuff you never took. You never took it yet to know what it is, but you're going to put it on people. And again, there's no such thing as RV Bey nationality card or RV Bey papers or RV Bey anything. Like they're a publishing company. Like what do you mean they got nationality cards? What do you mean? Like what do you mean? Francis Parkman's Works has nationality cards. Why would Francis Parkman's Works have nationality cards if they're a publication and they just publish books or whatever? Like what? Right? But again, it goes back to this thing that people's mindsets are in the wrong place. And then people get mad when we say, well, that's why you got your ass kicked. Because if your mindset's in the wrong place, then your energy is going to be in the wrong place. Then what do you want? So I tell people, shut the hell up, go home, go to the library, go in the park or some stuff like that. Go study. Forget trying to do stuff. We have been Negroes since we came out of the womb, and then we're a Moor for a year, and we want our own plates. And we want cards. And we want to not pay taxes. And we want to go to our job and tell them that, yeah, I'm whatever, you've been working there 30 years or whatever. And you're just going to come tell them, 30 years ago, you're a Negro, paying taxes, no problem, no issue, no nothing. As soon as you find out something, you want to put that in and think they're just going to say, oh yeah, we were waiting for you to actually say that, we're going to take everything off right now. That's not real. That's an illusion if you think like that. If you think that for you know 0 to 10 years old, you did this. You think you're not going to get buck teeth? You're tripping. And then you think that after you have the buck teeth now, or it's just going to reverse because you read about braces. Yeah, I read about braces and my teeth are going to be straight because I read about braces. I know everything about braces. It doesn't work like that. It definitely doesn't work like that. You need to be professional at what you profess. And Moors are novices talking about professional stuff. You can't tell me that you're a Moor, proclaimed, declared, conscious, awake Moor a year ago, and you should be exercising something. No way. Like, when we went on the news and all that, that was like 2 years in. Like, we were doing classes and all that stuff before any of that stuff kicked off. Like, there was actual learning that was happening. Like, only learning. Nothing, no application of anything. Like, strictly learning. Every day. Any way that you can, get it in to freaking go to the library or read something. Any way that you can get it in. However, you're on a plantation, you got it on your lap, like coming out. Yeah, just typing some stuff here or whatever like that. What the Moors did what? Going crazy. Just learning. Right? And how it is now is people learn And the thing hits them so fast now, like they don't have to digest anymore. They don't have to read something and then let it sink in. Like they're getting hit right now. As soon as they hear it, they get hit. Oh my gosh, you mean driving's a fraud? Oh man, I got to get rid of this license, and I got to get. That's not what this is about. This is about studying. It's not about getting rid of anything or having anything or whatever. This is about studying. This is about getting our mind in the right place before you start talking about you're going to do stuff. Trust that. Trust that. Once your mind's in the right place, then the stuff will be done. If the mind's not in the right place, don't look for anything to come out of that. Don't even expect it. Because it's messed up by not knowing. Messed up by looking at it as something to get. The only thing that you're supposed to be looking to get from this is your mind right. Shouldn't be nothing else. Everything else is going to come after your mind's right. Just ask Moors who their mind's right. That they came into this and they put in their, they put in their time to make sure they know what they're talking about. So that even if they go through something and it goes opposite of whatever, it's not going to have any bearing on where they are. They're still in that place. And again, like we said, this realm is about trials and tribulations. Where if you're not tested out here, you ain't doing nothing. If you're not tested, you're not evolving. It's that simply. It's that simple. Right?
This honey, you can't get this honey but once a year. This honey is alkaline. This honey is so powerful that when the woman has vaginal discharge in her nerves, all they do is make a suppository and put it up there, and it's gone in 24 hours. When the child has earache, a drop in the air, the earache is gone. And recently, about a year ago, a friend of mine in Moor, who come to the village, said, my little girl always gets a ball under her eye, and the doctors cut it out, but it goes back, and it goes back. I said, put the honey in her eye. He put a drop of honey in her eye, never go back. Then he brought his father that had a cataract on his eye. He put a drop each day. A week later, it was gone. This is a honey that's made from a bee. They call the Moor because he's black. The Spanish people in Honduras, the Indian people from the forest, call it Morocco.
It's a black bee, but it's a Moor bee. And then the Spanish people call the bee Morocco. Right? Islam to that one. Now you know why they killed Dr. Sebi. It's not me because he cured AIDS and all the BS or whatever like that. Because he's teaching people about Moors and how bees are connected to Moors. That's why they're killing all the bees. But, Moors are not the threat and all that stuff. It's not about Moors. It's about everything else except Moors. Islam to that one. Peace G. Oh yeah, and the name of the video was Dr. Sebi the Healer featuring Lisa Left Eye Lopez, 2 of 3. And it was uploaded by and Blacklopedia. And Blacklopedia uploaded the Dr. Sebi video about the bees being called Moors and Morocco. You can't make this stuff up, huh? Especially when it's coming from the man's mouth himself. Peace GS, and to all Moors awaken and soon to awaken. I am brother Anthony Shak El Bey from Morocco. Just chiming in on the BIE document. Good class, by the way. This looked like the coming out party of the King Alfred plan that speaks of the desperate and dangerous will for quote-unquote black people that are bound to the continent by heritage. We that study no second thought. Morgan Freeman played in a movie where he spoke directly to Congress in a scene. Limited what he told them because it can quickly become law, quote-unquote Batman. Now, I am not saying not to speak truth to power, only that, as my Moabitess tells me and reminds me, less is more. Less is more. Last thought. I've looked up Moorish American using Google Translate, surprise, Berbers. Surprised me to actually look it up for self. Just sharing to remind us, the Prophet said be yourself. By study, perhaps with right minds and principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, with these four, justice will follow. Peace and love to all. Islam. Islam. Brother Yusuf told the Moors, watch Friday Night Lights 5 to 10 movie clip. Boobies MRI 2004 on YouTube. Friday nights 5 to 10 movie clip. Boobies MRI. And also too, the definition of license, a revocable right or privilege of a person to come on another person's land. License. A revocable right or privilege of a person to come on another person's land. So you see why they don't want us to be Aboriginal and Indigenous. Because if we're Aboriginal and Indigenous, then that means license don't apply to us. Because we're in our own land. We need a license when we're in our own stuff. Right? Why? We're here. So if we're here, then, you know what I mean, we should be. But colonization, Nobujwali came 100 years ago. We're just finding out. So, you know, we have 100 years of catching up to do. Might think whatever you want to think, but that's really what it is. That's the reality. Why stuff gets messed up. Because people don't want to catch up their 100 years. People don't want to pass this on to posterity for the next 500 years. And then, you know, 500 years from now will be where we're supposed to be. Everybody wants it now. And it's not for now. What Drew Ali brought in the 1900s was for us now. So how we saying what we got now is for us. That's doing the same thing like what the Moors did. When they got all this and they took it and said, yeah, this is for me to exercise some whatever. No, it's not. This is for the generations after us to not have to go through the BS that we're going through right now with dirty Moors and anything else. Right? Brother Tony, I appreciate all the good work that you guys do. I've been studying and will soon proclaim. Right? Right? I've been talking about even nationality yet, still studying. You know, you're talking about I'm a Moor and I'm studying. He's like, no, I'm not even a Moor yet. But you know what I mean? I'm just studying right now. That's a good way to come into this. No cold turkey. No, wean yourself off the crack. The black, Negro colored crack. African conscious community crack. Wean yourself off. Yeah, some people can go Turkey. Most people, you're going to get the shakes in an hour. You're going to be wanting that black stuff so bad. You're going to be wanting them chitterlings. You say you're vegan. Cold turkey. Chitterlings be on your mind. Right? Wean yourself off so you don't hurt yourself. My question is, do you know a de jure way to naturalize my wife, no marriage license, who is European? I have a child on the way and would like to protect my family. Well, being that the European has a nationality, what she's going to be adopting is the mindset that you're adopting, and then teaching that to your offspring so that they know. Because remember, it's not about not having a nationality, it's about having a nationality. Right? Europeans got nationalities. When you trace the nationalities of Europeans, it goes back to Moors. Right? So, you know, leave all old business as it is. Right? Not with the right knowledge, you know what I mean? You're with a European. You know what I mean? Y'all bringing a child into the world. That's a beautiful thing. Don't let these people, you know what I mean, make her go crazy, which in turn is going to torment the child or whatever because of some Moorish or whatever. She got nationality. You don't have to be a Moor or none of that stuff. She just needs to go research that last name that she's got and then see how far back that goes into history of the Moors, and then tie that to the child, not the modern stuff that she's part of. Talk about the ancient stuff that, you know, she's going to have to go talk to her granddad or whoever about. That crazy uncle that everybody, you know, everybody got the crazy uncle, no matter what, quote unquote, the pigmentation. Everybody got that one. That, you know, when you realize, get older, you realize that was the smartest guy in the whole damn family because he had libraries and all that stuff. All right? So the de jure way is mindset. The de jure way is recognizing that, you know, you are obviously you know, returned of those people, the harem Moors, right? The return of those people. That's the only thing that makes sense to me why, you know, you would be interested, because there were Moors who, you know, they like the European women. Hey, that's just what it is. You know what I mean? What are you going to do with it now that you have the Noble Drew Ali instructions? You know what I mean? What's she going to do? When she starts reading oral statements talking about Europeans coming to give their little donation to Noble Drew Ali, find out that he passed and they're crying in front of the Moors that Noble Drew Ali died. Europeans. Right? When you go do your research on Moorish Orthodox Church and find out how these Europeans have their own passports and stuff like that with Moorish names on them. What were they on as Europeans? Like, where was their mindset at? That there's some Europeans and they're honoring Noble Drew Ali more than Moors. They honor Noble Drew Ali to the point where they have their own passports and stuff like that. Some Europeans. They were on some Mason or whatever like that. They were on some crescent and star pyramids and all the stuff. Why? Because they're in America. If you're going to be down with somebody, you might as well be down with who the prophet is. If I'm going to be down with anybody out here as a European, you dot what? Free man, whoever what? Let me get down with the Moors. Because based on the history, you know, got European study, they got libraries too. They know that this is Morocco over here. And it only makes sense that you tie yourself to the people who are saying that they're Moroccan. Because they know that the guys who say that they're Moroccan today, they just said they're Moroccan in 1956. They ain't no Moroccans. They're new Moroccans. Europeans know this. So, you know what I mean? One, don't get discouraged because people are going to talk shit to you or whatever. Two, you know, recognize that she's European, she got a descendancy, she has a nationality. She doesn't have to adopt a nationality. She has to adopt the customs. She has to be good with herself to realize that, you know what, yeah, the Moors are the founders of civilization or whatever like that, so we're gonna, you know, go hard for the Moors as a European. And that's just what it is. Like we're gonna go hard for the Moors just because we know what they brought to Europe, where she's from, civilized them and all that stuff. If she really is in tune with you and where you're at or whatever, that's how she's going to be looking at it. You know what I mean? Forget the queen, forget all the people who claim that they're the whoever, you know what I mean? Like, we know that it's Moors that are the real saviors of the Europeans, right? And be like the so-called Europeans who were trying to get blacks out of slavery and stuff like that, helping them and use their basement to hide them and all that type of stuff. Same thing, right? And then her recognizing that she's from them people. Not only might you be one of the you know what I mean, harem women of the Moors, but you might also be one of the slave abolitionists that were European, that took the position of, you know, well, you know, if I got white privilege or whatever, and I could just say, hey, well, can I get, and then you're going to get, then why not get everything you can get, give it to the Moors? Just because. You got a big house? All right, well, I'm going to house all you guys in my basement, and we're going to help you get out of this slavery thing, because we know that this stuff is wrong. You know what I mean? We know that this is your house. You know, sorry I took it over and stuff like that, but I'll help you and I'll hide you in the basement. And then we'll try to figure out how we're going to get you guys out of here. Because, you know, like, we don't want to go back to Europe either. That's why we came over here. Like, who thinks we don't want to be around it? You know? There's an element of Europeans that Europeans don't like, that they don't want to be around either. So, you know, it's only right that the Europeans say, hey, you know what, I ain't messing around with no cave people. I'll get me with an Asiatic. That's where the hell it's at. If we're going to save the Europeans, then I need to make sure that my offspring has melanin. And we're going to do all the rituals to make sure that he comes out dark as possible, or she comes out dark as possible. Because I already know the Moors had the sex rituals and stuff like that or whatever. So, you know what I mean? I'm going to take advantage of this stuff right here. And, you know, it'll go where it's supposed to. Just because. Mindset. You know. Can't cry over spilt milk, is what Granny used to say. The milk spilled, it is what it is. Islam family, here they come again. I'm just giving a heads up on the next YouTuber intelligence gangbangers who have Moors in the crosshairs. Watch every one of the groups come out of the woodworks since the fall of the conscious community last December 2016. Well, here is the next contenders. Secrets of New York. History of the black conscious hustle and how it robs us of true spirituality. Right? Secrets of New York. History of the black conscious hustle and how it robs us of spirituality. And again, you know what I mean? Like Drew Ali told the Moors, they're trying every weak mind. They are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid. Since the 1900s been laid. Since the 1900s it's been laid down. They're not pulling up these roots. They're not gonna poison this well. It ain't happening. They try and try and try and try, but they just don't understand. Which, you know, it's all good. You know what I mean? Because we're here. So I want to say Islam to all the Moors worldwide. Peace and love to all the family. We're still taking Juali Day donations. Getting ready, getting prepped for that. January 6, 2018. So Moors are in proper person at temple today. You could talk with Brother Amari, Brother Omar, with regard to donations for Noble Juali Day. We're still on the line with regard to the autumnal equinox dinner, but that is gonna happen within the next, say, 2 weeks to a month. It's gonna happen, right? Sometime soon. You know what I mean? Because that's one that we've had to do. And also, don't forget to stay tuned in. You know what I mean? RV Bay Publications, Blog Talk Radio, MHHS, Eyes Wide Open, Moorish American 720 on YouTube, MoorishDirectory.com, DrWilliamLBay.com, MoorishCivilLetter.net, PublishedInfo.net, and, you know, keep yourself close to Moors who claim studious. You know what I mean? Moors who claim this is about birthrights, and they're willing to, you know, have a conversation with you without a consultation fee. You know, stay close to Moors who aren't saying donate to their GoFundMe and ain't, like, they're not proving nothing, but all they have is they're in their room all the time. But every video they got a new ring on, a new chain, and the glasses getting more like the rapper shades and stuff like that. But, you know, they know themselves, but they got the rapper shades on, right? So keep your eyes open, keep your mind in the right place, and everything gonna be all right. And remember what we were talking about earlier with the religious aspect of the Moors being looked at as Sufism and metaphysics and Gnosticism and everything occult. Don't look at the religious Moorish movement. Oh yeah, religion is Islam, and you start want to do salat and stuff like that. That ain't. That's brainwash. Oh yeah, and remember, go watch the movie. Can't remember the name of the movie, but I think it's Cell or something, with the cell phones that made people turn into zombies. Cell phones made people turn to zombies when they answered the phone. And then just go to the end and tell me if that's not Muslims. Just go to the end and tell me if that's not Muslims. The ending scene is for all the Muslims. Don't be Muslim. We're Muslims. We're mystics. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Noble Juali, Islam. Peace and love, Moors. See y'all Tuesday night. We're going to be live right here again, Ustream, and at 7 o'clock and 9:30. We got MHHS Eyes Wide Open on Blog Talk Radio. So Islam, Moors, peace and love.
Come on brother. Come on in, brother. Bless. Have a seat, brother. Have a seat. Ah, yes. Come on in, brother. Welcome. Bless. Have a seat right there. Hey. Brother, bless. Have a seat, bro. Welcome, bless. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. You guys ready to make some money? Yeah. I can't hear you. Ready to make some money? Yeah. All right, let's get to work. All right, man. You get your birth certificates, man. You get a bunch of money from that, man. You know what I'm saying? You get your bonds, tons of money, man. You know what I'm saying? You want to get flex, I guess you want to be good, man. You want to be flossing, get your fur coats on, right? You got this over here, right here. Just ignore all that right there. You know, over here, right here. This is what it's all about, man. It's all about the dollar signs. You know what I'm saying? It's all about the money. You know what I'm saying? It's all about the dollar signs. At the end of the day, it's all about the money.
So, SGK, how soon can I get my money after we do this?
I have 10 grandchildren, you know. I need lots of money.
Hey, since this is so foolproof, can I get an advance? I got some stuff to take care of. I need the money.
Hold up.
Disconnected or is no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number and try your call again.
2 weeks going on 3, I gave him a G. Said with these papers I could be sovereign and free like popes and King Henry. Sipping on Henny and pigs' faces. No matter the places, travel rights days and nights. Cash in bonds on birth certs. Didn't tell me that birth is ERTH. Bottomry benefits of instruments.
It's all about the money. Trust me, you go with this and you'll get the money. If you don't believe me, ask my student right here.
I'm pissed off, will break his wrists off. Dirty Moors got me wanna cut lips off and teeth chipped off. Dirty thief using me to go through windows. Probably took my fiat and bought Indo and Kush. Off the roof I would push.
SGK.
Yes, sir.
Justice, no love.
How come no withdrawals not on the board?
No reply from emails. He stopped tweeting, but he's giving details on trust and executive status. Dialing the number, got my fingers callous. Dirty Moor packets selling cheaters. Rob you with no conscience, cognizant, not sleepers. And well aware, that's motive local. Plus they changed the corporate name and logo.
We're sorry, you have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number and try your call again. We're sorry, you have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number and try your call again.
They still on the fiat hustle and the bustle. Got cats in the bag like ruffles, airtight. Use fair fright, martial law hype. If you
I'll give you 50%
send a kite.
Alright, you know what? I'll tell them
Not even, get wise with the quickness, ability, quickly nimble, won't stumble or tremble. Finding out I got played like cymbals. Dirty Moors selling you your own Moorish symbols and crystals. No different than trees and reeds and toes missile. Drew Ali said study, so you don't get enslaved or played by your own buddy. Giving money to a gold digging dummy. State hopping dirty Moors, rob you out your dirty drawers. Souls perfect in fools' bodies. Setting up a PayPal smiling broad. Those types don't even know what's coming. Cause when I see them, it's expose time, no running, no gunning. I was told get wise. Dirty people giving weasel evil eyes. Picking up the cell to call. I get nervous cause I know what's up after I heard this.
We're sorry, you have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number and try your call again. We're sorry, you have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number and try your call again.
You gotta dish up.
Oh, this is yours? This is all yours?
For sure. Who else is it?
Keep coating. Jeez. I need to get me some of that right now, man. Yo, SGK, hook me up.
Bro, I got all this first day. I'm just saying, not first day today, but next day.